hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Hello, it's good to see you guys. This is Makeup Work for Monday and Tuesdays, in-person virtual learning. And if you weren't able to join us for our breakout rooms, we're gonna make sure that you're able to get that completed. Anything though that you see on my screen, the makeup work now is going to be on Google Classroom. So you're gonna have to make sure that you complete those assignments as makeup work, and you'll see those on there. Right, so welcome to breakout room number 1. In this room, what's gonna happen is I'm going to screen share a YouTube video. And instead of live streaming the chat and chatting in some information, what you're gonna do is you're gonna watch the video, and then you're going to pause, and then you're going to complete part of the makeup work on Google Classroom. So while you're watching the video, I want you to be prepared to share what you learned from former students. Overall, I want you to be able to talk about 3 things that former students identified that could help you in this class. In other words, what advice did they give?
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? It hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe.
We're all going to sing a song now. This song is I Love Speech Class. Go ahead, Jordan.
I love speech class. Yes, I do. I love speech class. What about you?
That was perfect. What a great way to get our video started. See, I told you guys were the best. So what do you think, Jordan? How do you think speech class helped you? Or what advice would you give to students who are going to take it next semester?
I really feel like speech class helped me like in the most way during the panel speech because we a lot of times I'd never even thought about what kind of questions I would have to be answering. And I just would always I winged my first few interviews, but thank goodness they were entry level jobs, you know. But when you do want to actually get into a career job, you're going to need to know what questions you're going to be asked, and you want to think about those beforehand.
Getting over anxiety or speech anxiety was where you benefited the most from the class. What do you think?
So I just want to say that I absolutely loved speech class, and that I think everyone should really take it seriously because it helps a lot more than a lot of the classes at Roosevelt High School. But I think it just really helped me be able to be comfortable with myself and comfortable talking to others. Because even though I've been going to school with a lot of these people for 12 years, I still was nervous having a conversation with them. And a lot of us are going to go off to college and do whatever, so we should be able to have a normal conversation with people without getting anxiety. So I think it helped my speaking abilities, just being able to talk to my peers comfortably.
Because from the outside, you seem like you're totally outgoing, totally cool to talk with anybody in the hallway. A person like you would never be nervous to give a speech, right? So how did you get, see, and that's the thing, people who are outgoing are going to experience anxiety as well. So how did you get over your speech anxiety?
I forgot I was muted.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people assumed that I was going to do really, really well in speech class because I was very outgoing, and I don't have problems just saying hi to literally anyone in the hallways.
Mm-hmm.
But there were actually several speeches that I gave that I was very, very nervous about, and I had horrible nerves while I was sitting getting ready to do them. And I'd say the number one way that I was able to get over my anxiety was I followed your advice. I did the breathing thing where you count. I had a water bottle that I would drink before I went up there. And once I was up there, I would just take a deep breath, and I would just say to myself, I'm not giving a speech. I'm just talking to my friends. Sometimes I wouldn't even look at the speech cards until I got to your class. I would look at them the night before and I would practice, and then I would put them away. I didn't look at the folder. I didn't open the folder. I didn't touch it, none of that. And I just left it in my backpack until I got to your class, and I took a deep breath and took it out and said, okay, here we go.
That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. What about you, Jordan? How'd you get over your anxiety?
Well, usually I'm a very anxious person, but with like public speaking, I've never really had an issue. But I was still like really nervous in a way. I just had to like reassure myself, like we've been working on this for such a long time, and you've like put all your effort into this. Like Mrs. Borison is going to appreciate that no matter what, you know. Like just figuring out like how I was gonna say things and making sure like everything was really planned out beforehand, and like making sure that I would understand like if I did mess up, then it was okay, because like it's a speech class. You're here to practice that stuff. Like we're here to grow, not to like judge each other or like worry about messing up like that.
So, what is it about speech class that you wish people knew, or maybe some advice you would give them about the class that would make them feel more at ease?
Uh, just when you're doing a speech, just don't think too much about it. Your unconscious already knows what it wants you to say. You just gotta let it speak.
I think everyone gets nervous, and you can't really help but get nervous, but Miss Borison gave us a lot of tips to help with your nerves, not necessarily get rid of them. And everyone in the class is going through the same thing. And if you talk to your, I think talking to your peers and understanding that they're really nervous too made me feel a lot better.
So you actually, would you give advice to friends in the class? Like you would say, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. And then they would say they were nervous. And then you guys would talk each other out of the nerves. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that a lot of people think that when they hear the word speech, they get really intimidated. But the main thing that helped me was just focusing on my personal goals and not thinking about anybody else's goals, and being able to just focus on yourself and the goals that Ms. Borson gives you really helped me to come out of my shell, and I think it helped me be a better public speaker. And it also really helps me just treat the speech like it's a conversation and it's a story, because when you just let go and kind of tell your own story, then it becomes a lot easier and it's better for everybody else, because it makes it more interesting instead of giving a boring speech that nobody wants to hear.
But do you remember some of those first times getting up in front of the classroom, how you got over that fear of talking to people you don't know?
So personally, I got over it by not overthinking it, because I have a problem with overthinking a lot of things just in life in general. And that freaks me out more than anything else really will. Like anything, like for the first speech, what I had to do is, I'm a very musical person. So personally, I love music. I love listening to music. I love singing, just dancing to music. Anything with music is part of my passion for the most part. So listening to music really did help me before that first speech. I sat down and I pulled out my headphones, and Miss Borison gave me the okay, and I pulled out my headphones, put them in, and just sat there and listened to one of my favorite genres of music, and put my head down and just stopped thinking until it was my time to get up and listen to other people speak. I just let the world float around me and forgot about all of the issues that I might have, and thought about what good might come out of the speech.
Well, actually, that's a really good technique that a lot of people like underestimate, is the value of distraction. I think so many kids will come into especially for the very first speech, and it's like they sit there and they're doing everything out of the norm. They don't talk to their friends anymore. They stop eating food or stop drinking their water or their coffee. It's almost like they're frozen, like they're a totally different person. But I think if you can distract yourself, whether that be with music or food or hanging out with your friends, laughing and smiling, it makes a huge difference. Tell us what it is about speech class that you think is going to help you in your future.
Personally, in my future, speech class has helped me because I've done a lot of public speaking in my career in 4-H and FFA and the extracurriculars in which I'm involved. But those were all being judged by a panel of judges, and I was used to being singled out on a stage talking down to the audience members. So from that experience, I learned how to talk to the people. But from speech class, I learned how to talk with the people and just learn how to integrate the audience more, not by just making eye contact, but just being more of an open and, I don't want to say generous, but that kind of fits because you just kind of integrate the audience and just like get them more involved because you're talking with them, not at them.
Right.
So that was the biggest takeaway that I had from class, because speeches do not need to be all serious and essentially black and white as I saw it, where you had to be very strict about what you're saying and be very professional about it. Yes, speech class is still professional, but you can still be yourself and more relaxed in it. And that was my biggest takeaway.
Shelby, you should be proud of yourself. The things that, especially, I remember the first conference we had, you were like, I have to do what? Like, I'm so used to doing it one way. And I know that it was a struggle to get that kind of feedback. Not that you weren't doing it great, but I was asking for something a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you should be proud of yourself. You've made humongous changes in the ability to connect with your audience. So Alec, what do you think you've done that you're proud of related to your public speaking?
So personally, I've never been a big public speaker. But honestly, speech class, it's going to sound really weird and kind of cliche, but hearing other people, like, because I had it second semester, and as Ms. Morrison knows, and Shelby, I've been in choir for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
But I've always been just so scared to do a solo because it's me singled out and it's everyone eyes on me when I'm used to eyes on a bigger crowd. And yes, they can see me, but usually their focus isn't on me. It's on everyone as a whole. So personally, the speech class and hearing other people's experiences and seeing my friends practice with me or with people around us really did give me that boost of confidence to actually try and go for a solo and just say, you know what, I'm overthinking this more than I should be. So I'm just going to go for it. And I did end up getting a solo. And when I went up on stage, I wasn't nervous anymore. I used techniques that they said I could use. And instead of overthinking, I underthought it and just went out and did it as best as I can do. And just thought, well, if I mess up, I mess up. That's on me. But I'm going to go out and try my best. And then in speech class itself, going up in front of my peers actually did help me get to know some of them better because I haven't known a lot of the kids. I've known of them, but I didn't really know them. And actually getting to sit there and talk with a lot of them really did help me get to learn more about my classmates than I probably ever would have, because I don't necessarily, I don't mean this in any derogatory way, but I didn't necessarily associate myself with them because they were more of like the cooler kids, if you want to call it that, and I was more of the geekier. I mean, Shelby's even laughing because she knows it's true. But I'm usually like the geekier, the nerdier kid. I play Magic for fun, like Magic the Gathering. That's how nerdy I am, and I don't think a lot of the cool kids would want to do that. So I got to actually experience something with them and got to connect with them on a personal basis, and thought of them more than just the kids that I can see in my class or the kids in my class. I thought of them more as friends and acquaintances, if you want to say it like that.
Cool.
So
There's this weird expectation that you guys should have it all down. You're ready. You should be perfect in every way. And I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, I'm not perfect. And that was
You're pretty close.
Thank you. That's where, there she is. Okay. But is that something too that you feel the focus helps? What do you think, Shelby? Do you think that focus is different and it helps you too to focus more on your improvement, not necessarily perfection?
Yeah, it really does, because like you're so stressed out about other classes where you have to get a certain grade to maintain a certain amount of GPA or something. But with speech class, especially for me, I wasn't so stressed because I went in because thinking I'm going to do great at this class because I've done so many other speeches, I've won so many awards, and I'm gonna be fine. This is a class I don't really need to stress about. And then I went in and she told us everything that we need to do, and I'm like, holy cow, how am I gonna do this? Like, it's a complete alternate switch from what I'm used to. So going from that background to that, I was really stressed out because I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm probably not gonna do as well as I initially thought. But when I learned that it was about improvement and only working on a few specific goals each speech, it actually helped a lot. And it has, like Miss Morrison said, improved my speaking skills a lot more.
Do you guys want to talk about how important it is to maybe just get comfortable speaking up or talking to new people in the class? Any of those types of things? What do you think, Leilani? What did that help you quite a bit? Just talking to people in the class?
It did, yeah. I remember the first day in speech that I had no idea where to sit. I was like pretty uncomfortable with the people who were in the class. But my advice to you would be to definitely like broaden your horizon and the people that you talk to. Like, it doesn't matter if they're cool or not. It honestly doesn't matter because there are so many smart people around our entire school, and it's just it's amazing. It's an amazing experience to get to know those people.
I mean, for the very first speech, that tell me a little bit about yourself speech, so many people overthink that. How did you get over the first speech jitters, and what do you wish you would have done differently to make you feel more comfortable? What do you think, Cassidy?
I don't know if I really got over the jitters. I just kind of got up there and I was like, oh, if this goes really bad, then that's not going to be fun. But it didn't. So that helped me kind of relax and realize that, like, on my other speeches, I don't have to, like, memorize exactly what I'm going to say, and I don't have to worry about making a fool of myself because it's fine. And hopefully, and like usually, it doesn't happen. So I would just focusing on relaxing and trusting yourself with like, yeah, I can go up here and give this speech and I can deal with whatever happens afterwards.
Well, the first day I actually forgot my note cards at my house.
Oh,
no. So I flipped. I like turned around. I was going like 80 and a 40. Don't tell anybody I said that. And it was bad. It was so bad. And I got to class and I was late. I was, I think, 5 minutes late. So that just like added extra pressure. And I was like, Miss Borson's gonna hate me for the rest of the semester. It's gonna suck. But when I walked in, I was like, Miss Borson, I am so sorry. She was like, don't worry about it. She's like, are you gonna give your speech? I was like, yeah. Just like, okay, go.
Guys, this has been so cool. Thank you for doing this. Did you have fun doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. This was way cool. Here, I better stop the recording. You guys can wave though while I stop the recording. Here, we can wave. All right. So there was so many different kinds of advice during that video. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to pause this makeup work video and go to Google Classroom and start typing in the 3 things that you feel like you learned from watching former students talk about their experiences in speech class. What did you learn? Overall, what advice did they give? And then come back to this video and we'll finish your makeup work.
I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Well, since you weren't here to talk through these answers, what I would like you to do is I would like you to take time to look at the 4 questions that are on your screen, maybe jot down the questions or screenshot this screen. I don't know if you screenshotted it, but let's try again. Screenshot this screen. Perfect. And then what I would like you to do is I would like you to answer one of these 4 questions in a video that then you will upload to the Google Classroom assignment as makeup work. Now, what I'm looking for from this video is at least a 1 minute long response. Now, it can be in between 1 minute to 2 minutes, but ultimately, if you feel like you only answered 1 question and that was maybe 20 seconds long as a response, feel free to answer more than 1 question in your response. All right, so you better pause this video and go answer one of those questions.
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
There is one more thing that I'm going to need you to do, and that's the needs assessment survey. It looks like this. So this needs assessment survey will give me information that will help me differentiate instruction and individualize your learning. Now, this particular needs survey or needs assessment is linked to not only Google Classroom, but it's also linked to your week two to-do list. So make sure that you submit that. Man, I hope I get to see you on Wednesday or Thursday, because during that class, we're going to talk a little bit more about the capstone learning experience. Well, I was interested for the whole thing. Maybe I should dance again.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe,